Politicking with your boy, man. Hey, listen, bro. Happy early morning, whatever. I'm just now getting out of my business. I'm ready to go home and get some motherfucking sleep. And this is what happens when you work hard and then you got shit to do. You feel it as an adult at the end of the day. I get it. We all have bills to pay. It's the beginning of the month. But don't let the outside world kill you on the inside, please. It is not worth it. I promise you. So let's talk about it. So ESPN broke this morning that Ryan Clark lost his job as a podcaster, as a sports analyst this morning for First Take. I'm going to be all the way real with y'all. That was an unfair situation, but it was a fair situation at the same time, business-wise. But it was an unfair situation because we're talking about an ex-player. We're talking about an ex-person that knows everything about the position that he plays. And it's not about him being an ex-player as of to why he lost his job. It's the way he lost it. First and foremost, y'all have to understand that ESPN and SportsCenter and everybody up on that bitch is all politicians. Every last one of them. And that's the part that nobody likes. That's the part that sucks. That's the part that people try to prevent. And that's the thing that they don't tell the whole world, obviously, because they're on TV. But they don't work for the NFL. They don't work for the NBA. They don't work for anybody. A lot of them used to, because like I said, a lot of them are ex-coaches. A lot of them are ex-players. So because Ryan Clark said that on the podcast today is why he lost his job. I'm going to be real. They were politicking about the Dallas Cowboys and about them being a Super Bowl factor this year, which I disagree with because I'm a fucking Cowgirls hater for the rest of my life. I'm a Niners fan. A lot of people count the Cowboys out. They're going to be counted out always, but there's still people that are on that podcast or on that panel or on ESPN or on SportsCenter or wherever they're podcasting from that are Cowboys fans somewhere in the world. So when you have a conversation with somebody or you're doing whatever it is you do to discuss what's going on, just like how most of us who have TikTok, we get on here and say the shit we want to say when we want to say it and who the fuck we want to say it to. They can't do that on those major platforms like that, especially dealing with sports, just because it's still a business at the end of the day. So everything, as bad as we don't want to admit it, everything is kind of behind script. They get up there and they practice everything. Everything has to be said a certain way. It's not what you say, it's how it's said. Ryan Clark is a former Steeler, so he knows about the NFL more than a lot of people. He knows that things happen in the NFL, but he's not going to always cover things up. I'm with him 1,000% on what he said when he said to what he said to Dan Dorsky and the rest of the guys up there, saying the stuff he said, saying that's the not player in you. That's not the ex-player in you, meaning you never played the sport. You never coached the sport. You don't know anything really about the sport. You're looking at it from a fan standpoint of view, which is completely what they're doing if they haven't played the sport or was taught how to play the sport or coach the sport. You know what I mean? This is what y'all got to understand. Those guys up there bust their ass every day for 2.5 straight hours or 3 to rehearse the things that they say. When that camera is rolling and the lights are on, there's no telling what's going to be said and how it's said or what's being said. We've seen this 100 times from Shannon Sharp, from Chad Ochocinco, T.O., all these guys that aren't going to cover the bullshit up, including Skip Bayless, who is a Cowboys fan. We've seen this shit 100 times. We're not going to keep covering shit up because the media covers things up. We're not going to do that. We're going to expose that shit. You are on the platform where we're going to expose that shit. But unfortunately, you can't do that on ESPN. You can't do that on any Not even Pat McAfee. You can't do that when the camera is rolling. You see what I mean? You have to keep everything as PG-13 as possible, if anything. You can't do anything illegal, say anything illegal. You can't downplay anybody's character. Regardless to whether you agree with them or disagree with them, you can't take it to the next level. But when you have those type of conversations, you have those type of conversations in barbershops, you have those type of conversations at cookouts, you have those type of conversations off camera, you know what I mean? But when you're on camera doing it, including Stephen A. Smith, who is the king of ESPN, no matter what anyone says, sometimes you have to bite your tongue. And sometimes you just have to let the person that's saying shit be wrong, regardless to whether you want to correct them or not, because it saves your ass at the end of the day, because it shows your patience. But I'm just like Ryan Clark. Ryan Clark is just like me. I'm not biting my tongue for nobody's bullshit. If the stuff you're saying is incorrect, or if you can't prove it to me, or prove it to the rest of the podcast, or prove it to whoever, it's only fair if I correct you. Or if I don't correct you, at least say how I feel about what you're saying. And if you agree with it, you agree with it. But this is the thing. People don't even really know how to do that. That's why when they do it, it comes out wrong. It's not how people respond. It's all about the delivery. You know what I mean? The delivery for the guy, he felt personal. I can't remember his name exactly, but he has been on First Take in ESPN for over 6 years. You know what I mean? Just like Dan Dorsky, who's been on there longer than that. They don't drop pipe bombs on people. They let people say the shit they want to say when they want to say it. But even people like me who are around people who don't really know me, they don't really understand. I come from a huge community of people. You see what I'm saying? Where I'm from, I come from the aunts, the uncles, the cousins, the homies that live around the corner, the motherfuckers who don't do well by people, they around me. You know, you see the best of both worlds. And when you come from a certain area, or you come from a certain lifestyle or whatever, sometimes you can't always carry that with you, but that doesn't dictate how you treat other people. Just because other people treat you a certain way doesn't mean you have to treat them the same way. It's just all about how you treat them, which is a selfish way of looking at shit. But in the media's eyes and to everybody else's eyes, I guess that's just something that we have to deal with and fight. I disagree with Ryan Clark losing his job, but I do agree with Cam Newton losing his job, because Cam Newton has done shit like this all the time. He'll get up there, he'll say the shit he says. He's not all the way accurate, but because he was an ex-quarterback for the Carolina Panthers, who doesn't really have a problem with being a quarterback, he never really did, but his opinion of shit is a little bit too universal for they ass too. You know what I'm saying? He's going to say what he wants to say and how he wants to say it, but because I come from Atlanta and the Panthers and the Falcons are rivals, I've never liked Cam Newton. You know what I'm saying? And that's not nothing personal against Cam, but it's just, I just don't fuck with Cam Newton because of that. You know what I mean? But Ryan Clark losing his job today was unfair. I don't agree with it. I feel like there was certain shit that could have went better that wasn't said by Ryan Clark, but the way he worded it, I mean, how else do you want him? The thing is, you can't always sugarcoat shit with people. Sometimes you have to let people say what they want to say and how it's said, just because sometimes people need that factor on them. Sometimes people need that harsh love. Sometimes people need that constructive criticism. Sometimes people need to get their ass busted by other people just so they learn. You know what I mean? Learn certain shit, because the people that are on the outside looking in are watching that. And people like me are gonna say what the fuck. You know what I mean? Not everybody is gonna sugarcoat shit. That's why it's hard for people to be around me, because when I tell you some shit, I mean it. And I'm not just gonna sugarcoat it. I'm gonna tell you what the fuck it is and what the fuck it ain't. But only the real ones survive, though, you dig? But I do not like the fact that he lost his job. Like I said, I feel like it was just unfair. The timing wasn't right. And ESPN and First Take know that. But football season is almost here. Let's see what they come up with in the AM. You dig? Let's get it. Head coach to go.